Fans panic. Jungkook BTS suddenly sings dark musical song, Open Your Eyes. Is this a secret signal for a far more intense solo comeback? Why did Jungkook appear out of nowhere with a haunting, theatrical, emotionally heavy performance of Open Your Eyes from the dark musical to Man Who Laughs? What pushed the global superstar to choose a dramatic, gothic, almost tragic piece instead of his usual bright pop, sultry R&B, or polished contemporary sound? Why did the moment feel less like a simple cover and more like the opening scene of a grand, ominous, cinematic story he has not yet explained? The world is not merely curious. The world is shaken. Fans around the globe are spiraling into panic, confusion, excitement, and obsession, desperately trying to decode whether this unexpected performance is a deliberate message. Because nothing about it looked casual, nothing about it sounded unplanned, and nothing about the atmosphere felt accidental. The moment the video began circulating online, the reactions erupted instantly. Jungkook stood in dim lighting, his silhouette almost blending into the shadows around him. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He simply inhaled, lifted his gaze, and let out a voice that felt like it had been carved directly out of pure emotion. His delivery was so raw, so controlled, so theatrical that the air surrounding him felt heavy. His tone didn't just tell a story, it carried a secret. What was he trying to say? Why now? Why this song? Fans immediately sensed that this was not just a random upload. The emotional intensity radiating from his voice felt like a warning, as if he was telling the world to prepare for something far more dramatic than anything he has released before. The way he emphasized the words, "Open your eyes," ignited theories across every platform. Was he asking fans to notice something? Was he hinting at a transformation? Was he telling the world to brace itself for a new era? Within minutes, hashtags about Jungkook's mysterious performance began trending. Within hours, analysts, vocal coaches, producers, and entertainment critics began weighing in. Some praised his astonishing control and breathtaking emotional expression. Others pointed out something far more intriguing. His vocal technique in this performance resembled the style used in professional musical theater recordings, not casual vocal covers. That detail alone set the internet on fire. Why would Jungkook adopt theatrical phrasing unless he was preparing for something tied to a larger concept? Why would he choose a song drenched in emotional darkness and psychological tension unless it held symbolic meaning? Why perform it so seriously, with such precision, unless he wanted us to pay attention to something hidden within the delivery? The mystery deepens with the fact that he offered no explanation whatsoever.
No caption.
No message.
No clarification.
Not even a casual comment. Just silence. And fans know Jungkook's silence is rarely meaningless. In the past, silence has always preceded something massive, a surprise announcement, a new project, a sudden reveal none of us were emotionally prepared for. When he disappears and then drops something intense, something is always happening behind the scenes. Now, the same pattern is unfolding again. The fandom is convinced this performance is a signal, a coded message that Jungkook is preparing a solo comeback that is darker, heavier, more cinematic, and more emotionally explosive than anything in his discography. The idea alone has created shockwaves. What if Jungkook is no longer content with the boundaries of typical mainstream pop? What if he is crafting an era built on storytelling, theatricality, and psychological drama? What if he is embracing a character, a narrative, or a persona that requires a deeper emotional palette? Fans have been analyzing every micro-expression, every breath, every vocal run, searching for answers. His eyes appeared almost haunted, as if he was embodying a wounded yet determined character from a tragic opera. His body barely moved, yet every note felt like it came from the core of his chest, heavy with meaning. The performance felt like a confession, but one without words. A story told through sound alone. A message encoded in emotion. And the more fans rewatch the clip, the more they feel that Jungkook has entered a new phase of artistic evolution. It is no longer just about catchy melodies or sleek choreography. It is about transformation,
Depth.
storytelling, identity, a rebirth. Could this be the start of a darker Jungkook era? A theatrical concept rooted in inner conflict, duality, or emotional awakening. The title alone, Open Your Eyes, has become a central obsession. Is he telling fans that the clues have already been laid out? Is he suggesting that something has been hiding in plain sight? Is he warning the world to pay closer attention because something monumental is coming? Industry insiders have whispered that Jungkook might be experimenting with more dramatic arrangements, orchestral compositions, and cinematic soundscapes for his next release. Producers speculate that he may be preparing a concept unlike anything the global pop scene has witnessed from a Korean solo artist. If true, this could mark the beginning of a groundbreaking artistic chapter. The emotional weight of his performance cannot be ignored. Jungkook did not sound like someone casually exploring a musical genre. He sounded like someone releasing something deeply internal, something that has been building quietly while the world wasn't watching. There was pain in his delivery, resolve, vulnerability,
Power.
It felt like a volcanic mix of emotion bursting through the cracks. Fans described the moment as chilling, mesmerizing, overwhelming, even haunting. Many say they felt a shift inside their chest the moment he began to sing, as if they were witnessing the beginning of a story that has not yet been told. The performance didn't just entertain, it unsettled. It awakened. It shook the room, and that sensation has become the foundation of the biggest question haunting the fandom. What exactly is Jungkook preparing? Is it a comeback rooted in darkness? A concept filled with dramatic visuals, emotional turmoil, and psychological layers? A storyline that will unfold through music videos, performances, and lyrical narratives? A complete reinvention of the Jungkook the world thinks it knows. His silence only intensifies the anticipation. Every hour without an update feels like a countdown. Every day without clarification feels like a deliberate choice. Jungkook has done something he rarely does. He set the entire world on edge with a single performance, then vanished into quiet. And now fans wait, breathless, fearing and hoping for the same thing. That this performance is the birth of a new Jungkook. Darker, stronger, braver, more dramatic, more emotionally raw than anything before. He telling the world to open its eyes because the transformation has already begun? Because the next era is already in motion? Because he is stepping into a world he has crafted behind closed doors, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal. There is no confirmation.
No denial. No hint.
Only that performance, echoing across the internet like an omen. And perhaps that is the most thrilling part of all, because whatever Jungkook is planning, whatever he is preparing, whatever he is hiding behind the silence, one thing is clear. When he finally opens the door to his next chapter, the world will not be ready. Until then, all we can do is what he told us to do. Open our eyes. The panic only intensified as fans replayed Jungkook's performance frame by frame, searching for clues in the slightest movement of his eyes, the tension in his jaw, the trembling edge in his vibrato. Nothing about him looked relaxed. Nothing appeared casual. It was as if he was carrying the weight of a story he could not speak aloud. A story that chose to leak through his voice instead. And that unspoken weight has ignited something far larger than a simple viral moment. It has awakened a global sense of anticipation, fear, and fascination that refuses to die down. Why did his voice sound like he was standing on the edge of a revelation? Why did the atmosphere feel like a prelude, not a standalone moment? Why did his gaze seem almost pleading, as if urging the audience to understand something hidden beneath the melody? The more the performance spreads, the more the world realizes that something is changing inside Jungkook. There is a gravity in his presence that wasn't there before. A maturity, a sharpness, a shadow. It feels as if he has crossed into a new emotional territory, one that he is now brave enough to reveal piece by piece. And this performance, this dark, powerful, theatrical awakening, was the first piece. The silence from his team only fuels the chaos. No one is confirming anything. No one is clarifying anything. The lack of explanation has become its own form of communication, a silent strategy Jungkook has mastered over the years. Whenever he is on the brink of a major transformation, he goes quiet, eerily quiet. And in that quiet, he begins to build. Fans have learned to fear that silence, because it always means he is working on something that will shake the world the moment it is unveiled. This time, that silence feels even heavier, even more charged, even more deliberate, because the performance was too polished for an accident, too emotional for randomness, too theatrical for improvisation. Every note felt intentional, every breath filled with meaning, every word carried like a message sealed in darkness. It was the kind of delivery that belongs in a narrative,
A storyline.
a concept, a world. Is Jungkook preparing an era built on emotional conflict and awakening? Is he constructing a character who battles inner shadows, someone who breaks free only by confronting the self? Is he crafting a storyline that mirrors the emotional intensity of the man who laughs? A narrative of loneliness, transformation, and hidden strength? Fans on social platforms have begun piecing together a theory that Jungkook may be planning a full conceptual solo project, one that merges theatrical music with contemporary production, turning his next comeback into a cinematic journey rather than a traditional album release. The idea alone terrifies and excites everyone. What if Jungkook's next era involves music videos connected by a single storyline? What if he explores the duality between his public persona and his private struggles? What if this performance is the opening scene of an emotional film he will unfold through sound and visuals? His voice in the clip certainly supports that theory. It carried a dramatic tension rarely heard in mainstream pop. There was a sharpness in his delivery, a trembling sincerity that seemed almost too vulnerable to be accidental. It was the kind of vulnerability artists use when they are processing something deeply personal through their work. And fans felt it instantly, as if the emotion in his voice reached through the screen and tightened around their hearts. There is something haunting about how he sang the final line. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was soft, almost a whisper. But that whisper carried more weight than any explosive high note could. It sounded like a confession, or a warning, or a promise. Now the world is left to question what the whisper meant. Jungkook asking fans to prepare for a chapter that breaks the boundaries of his previous work. Is he telling them that he is ready to step into a darker artistic identity, one filled with emotion, storytelling, and transformation? Is he revealing the first piece of a larger theme he has been quietly shaping during his time away from the spotlight? The possibility alone has electrified the entertainment industry. Critics who once praised Jungkook's versatility now suspect that he is aiming for something far bolder, a reinvention that merges the worlds of pop, musical theater, and cinematic storytelling. If he truly embraces a theatrical concept, he could redefine what a global solo artist can achieve in this generation. It is a risk. It is a challenge. It is a leap into unknown territory. And yet, it feels exactly like something Jungkook would do. He has always been fearless in his artistic evolution. Every time the world thinks it understands him, he shifts direction. Every time audiences expect one version of him, he reveals another. This performance feels like the beginning of his boldest shift. It feels like Jungkook is telling the world that the boy who mesmerized millions with his bright smile and golden voice has grown into an artist unafraid of darkness, depth, or emotional complexity. It feels like he is preparing to show a version of himself that is raw, mature, powerful, and unfiltered. The question is no longer whether the performance was intentional. The question is what comes next. Will he drop a teaser without warning? Will he post a cryptic message on his social media? Will he release a visual concept that confirms fan suspicions? Or will he continue the silence, letting the intensity of the moment build until the world is unable to stand the tension any longer? Every second feels like a countdown. Every rumor feels like a spark. Every breath Jungkook takes in public becomes a sign fans cling to, because everyone can feel it now. Something is coming. Something heavy. Something bold. Something darker than anything he has ever shown. Something that the fandom will not forget. And until Jungkook reveals what he has been hiding in the shadows, the world will remain breathless, waiting, trembling, unable to look away, eyes open, heart racing, suspended in anticipation, because Jungkook has already given the command. Open your eyes. The real story has only just begun, but as the hours stretched into the night, something unusual began to shift within the fandom. A pattern started forming, not in Jungkook's words, but in the timing of his choices. Fans pulled up timelines of every unexpected musical performance Jungkook had ever posted. They compared the moments just before his solo album Golden, just before his Calvin Klein global reveal, just before his viral appearance at the Billboard stage. And the results were unsettlingly similar. Every major Jungkook milestone had been preceded by a moment like this: an unplanned clip, a subtle artistic signal, a dark or emotional performance shared without explanation, followed by global speculation. Could this new video be the next domino to fall? Or was Jungkook once again proving that he understands the psychology of anticipation better than anyone in the global music